No. But how will you pay for it? The Committee for a Responsible Budget says your plans will increase the debt by $7.5 trillion.
But they don't know.
The Wall Street Journal said that your plans will increase the debt and deficits more than Kamala Harris's.
Today, Trump sat across from Fox host Maria Bartiromo, and if you don't mind, I'm going to respond to a few of his falsities. I would debunk each and every one, but I'd be here all night, and after watching merely 10 minutes of this train wreck, I need a beer, and I need to go before the pub shuts.
But what about the criticism, and the Journal has done this as well, that if you do put something like a 200% tariff on a product, that it's only going to mean higher prices for consumers?
It's not. No, it doesn't mean that.
It's got to be passed on somehow.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Trump chatting with the woman who looks like she's holding back tears every time a new jobs report is announced under the Biden-Harris administration would be a layup for the former president. But then again, that's giving too much credit to the man who believes Democrats are waging a war on cows.
They want to do things like no more cows and no windows in buildings.
Not to mention that the host herself, dare I say it, pushed back on a few instances, leaving the bumbling mess stunned. First of all, regarding his plan to put tariffs on everything, claiming that it won't raise the price of goods. The Fox News host confronted former President Trump on his plan to put a 200% tariff on foreign auto companies in particular, citing the Wall Street Journal's opinion that his plan would increase debt and deficits more than Kamala Harris's plan. To which Trump's response, as usual, was anything but clarifying.
But what about the criticism, and the Journal has done this as well, that if you do put something like a 200% tariff on a product, that it's only going to mean higher prices for consumers?
It's not. No, it doesn't mean that.
It's got to be passed on somehow. But how will you pay for it? The Committee for a Responsible Budget says your plans will increase the debt by $7.5 trillion.
But they don't know.
The Wall Street Journal said that your plans will increase the debt and deficits more than Kamala Harris's. Your thinking is the threat of a 200% tariff will stop them from taking the car. So you won't actually have to do it, so you're not going to actually push prices higher.
I never, until now, I said 200. I'm using that just as a figure.
But you say 200 a lot.
Oh, I'll say 100, 200, I'll say 500. I don't care. They're not going to bring cars into this country from Mexico and destroy what car companies we have left, but much more than that.
And the Wall Street Journal are not the only economic experts weighing in on how Trump's economic plan will worsen the US economy and grow the debt. Goldman Sachs, of course, came out with their opinion recently that left Trump in disarray when pressed on it.
Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. The best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession.
I will very quickly deflate. We are going to take inflation and we are going to deflate it. We are going to deflate inflation.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
But moving on to more fascist matters, Donald Trump suggested that the US military should be used on citizens who disagreed with him, blatantly alluding to liberals as, quote, the enemy from within. Now, this caused Bartiromo to push back, which only gave room for more weaving from Donald Trump, where he seamlessly pivoted from migrants to disparaging Biden's stamina.
What are you expecting? Joe Biden said he doesn't think it's going to be a peaceful election day.
I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages, they're being inundated. But I don't think they're the problem in terms of election day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
In response to these remarks, the Harris campaign swiftly stated on Sunday that Trump's comments, combined with his past rhetoric about expanding his presidential power, quote, should alarm every American who cares about their freedom and security. Going on to further state, what Donald Trump is promising is dangerous, and returning him to office is simply a risk Americans cannot afford. And you know, it seems like it's been sent from the top down at Fox News that hosts try and weave their way into convincing Trump that waging a war on those who he disagrees with isn't the best campaign strategy.
Well, you're talking about nuclear facilities now with regard to Israel. And, you know, you said that you think that Israel should, in fact, hit Iran's nuclear facilities. Isn't this dangerous to be talking about impacting
you don't want
nuclear facilities?
You can't let them have a nuclear weapon.
I remember last week Laura Ingraham performed Olympic-level verbal gymnastics in her efforts, but Trump is Trump, and when he's got an axe to grind, he's worse than the thirsty dude on TikTok chopping wood.
How will you restore faith in our justice system? A lot of people will say, well, he's just going to do to them what they did to him and get back at them. And
a lot of people say that's what should happen.
Well,
you want to know the truth.
Right. Well, but I think, you know, punitively using government institutions is what got us in this mess in the first place. And our town hall that we did back in February, one of the lines that really resonated, I think, with people is when you said, my revenge is going to be my success.
Yeah, well, I do believe that, but I will say this. They have started a terrible precedent. We've never had this. We do have that in third world countries, banana republics, a lot in South America where they go after somebody politically that's an opponent. We never had it to any great extent, really almost at all.
But you're not going to do that. When you get in office, you're going to look at all your political enemies.
No, I want to make this the most successful country in the world. That's what I want to do.
I mean, as recently as last month, Trump said he would seek legal retribution against, quote, lawyers, political operatives, donors, illegal voters, and corrupt election officials for any potential cheating. Saying on Truth Social, quote, those involved in unscrupulous behavior will be sought out, caught, and prosecuted at levels unfortunately never seen before in our country. I mean, he wrote this, right? And it's not thinly veiled. It is blatant authoritarianism. And it comes after the man just threatened to revoke CBS's license because he was humiliated during their 60 Minutes opening.
So they're asking, but think of this. So CBS gets a license, and the license is based on honesty. I think they have to take their license away. I do.
Donald Trump is afraid of debating Kamala Harris again. And he's afraid of 60 Minutes. And that could be because he simply does not have the mental capacity to survive a 60 Minutes interview now. That question was raised in the New York Times reporting about Donald Trump's apparent cognitive decline that has been on display publicly, which includes Donald Trump claiming to have run for president against Barack Obama, which never happened, and mixing up names of countries, including confusing Iran and North Korea, along with outbursts of incoherent rage. It could be that the campaign staff decided that a Trump appearance on 60 Minutes would be not survivable at this point in what they perceive to be Donald Trump's cognitive decline. Vice President Harris, of course, delivered her commitment to join the special edition of 60 Minutes